The meeting room was huge. It floated in space around a distant planet called Kepler 4 for 2b. Inside, beings from different worlds sat around a giant table. The air smelled strange, like metal and electricity mixed together. Kim Dae-ho sat in his chair and looked across the table. He was the main speaker for all humans in the galaxy. His black suit was simple compared to the strange bodies of the aliens around him. He had been in this room for 3 months. 3 long months of talking and getting nowhere. Across from him sat the Vrex representative. It looked like a walking mountain made of blue crystals. Light bounced off its body and made rainbow patterns on the walls. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking glass. Humans are too young, the crystal being said. You have only been in space for 200 years. That is nothing. We have been traveling between stars for 10,000 years. Next to the Vrex sat a Quillen. It looked like a giant ant, but with 6 arms and purple skin. It never spoke as just one being. When it talked, it spoke for billions of creatures that shared one mind. Humans think too much for themselves, the Quillen said with its clicking voice. This is wrong. All beings should think together as one. Your way of thinking is like a sickness. The third alien was harder to see. It was made of pure energy and looked like a floating ball of light. This was a Nethys. Its voice came from everywhere at once. Young species must learn from old species. The energy being said. You cannot have the same rights as us. You must be guided like children. Kim Dae-ho felt tired. He had heard these same words every day for months. He looked up at the observation deck above them. There, behind thick glass, stood Commander Park Soo-jin. She wore the blue uniform of the Earth Defense Fleet. Her face showed no emotion, but Kim knew she was angry. They had come here hoping to make peace. Instead, they found only insults. Let us review what the council wants, Kim said in a calm voice. He picked up a datapad and read from it. You want humans to give up 60% of our colonies. You want us to let you control our government for 1,000 years. You want us to stop exploring new worlds. The crystal Vrex made a sound, like wind through broken glass. This is generous. We could simply take what we want. You are weak, your ships are slow. Your weapons are simple. Kim looked at the list again. Humans had found 12 worlds in the outer part of the galaxy. These worlds had valuable metals and rare crystals. They also had good soil for growing food. Millions of humans now lived on these worlds. They had built cities and farms. They had made new homes. What do humans offer in return for keeping 30% of our worlds? Kim asked. The Quillen's purple skin changed color slightly. You offer nothing? You have nothing to offer. Your technology is primitive. Your culture is chaotic. Your people fight among themselves. Park Soo-jin watched from above. She had commanded human ships in small battles against space pirates. She knew human technology was different from alien technology, but not worse. Human ships were smaller, but faster. Human weapons were simpler, but hit harder. Most importantly, human crews worked together better than any alien crew she had seen. The energy being pulsed brighter. The council has decided. Accept our terms or face the consequences. We have 5,000 warships. You have maybe 50. Kim Dae-ho set down his datapad. He had been a diplomat for 20 years. He had made peace between warring nations on Earth. He had helped solve disputes between different human colonies. But these aliens did not want peace. They wanted surrender. You believe humans have nothing valuable to offer, Kim said slowly. Correct, the Vrex replied. Your species is barely above primitive. You believe we are too weak to defend ourselves. Obviously, the Quillen answered, your ships cannot even travel as fast as ours. You believe we will simply give up and accept whatever terms you offer. The energy being grew brighter. What choice do you have? You are alone. Every major species in the galaxy supports the council. Submit now, or be forced to submit later. Kim Dae-ho stood up. The aliens had made their position clear. They saw humans as children who needed to be controlled. They thought human independence was dangerous. They believed human technology was worthless. The council has made its feelings about humanity very clear, Kim said. He walked around the table slowly. His footsteps echoed in the large room. You see us as primitive. You see us as weak. You see us as having nothing to contribute to galactic civilization. He stopped in front of the Vrex representative. The crystal being was 3 times taller than Kim, but the human did not step back. If the council truly believes humanity has nothing valuable to contribute to these discussions, then there is no point in continuing them. The aliens looked at each other. This was not what they expected. Very well, Kim continued. As of this moment, humanity withdraws from all peace negotiations. All human diplomatic missions will return to Earth immediately. We will no longer waste the council's valuable time with our primitive ideas. The Vrex made a sound like laughing. You cannot simply leave. You must accept our terms. Must we? Kim asked. You have spent 3 months telling us we have nothing to offer. You have made it clear that our presence here is unwanted. So we are leaving. The Quillen's color changed to a darker purple. If you leave, you will have no protection from other species. Pirates will attack your worlds. Slavers will capture your people. That is our concern, not yours, Kim replied. You have made it clear that the council does not consider us equals. Therefore, we will no longer pretend to be part of your civilization. Up in the observation deck, Park Soo-jin smiled for the first time in months. She tapped her communication device and sent a coded message to Earth. Negotiations ended. Return to base begin. Protocol 7. The energy being pulsed angrily. You are making a mistake. Without the council's protection, you will not survive. Kim gathered his papers and put them in his briefcase. Perhaps, but that will be humanity's mistake to make. He walked toward the door. The aliens watched him go, confused by his calm behavior. They had expected begging or anger. Instead, they got polite withdrawal. When your people are starving and your worlds are burning, remember this moment, the Vrex called after him. Remember that you chose pride over wisdom. Kim stopped at the door and turned back. We will remember. We will remember that the great Galactic Council thought humanity had nothing to offer. We will remember that you believed we were too weak to matter. We will remember that you thought we would simply submit to whatever terms you decided. He opened the door. Most of all, we will remember that you never bothered to learn what humans are truly capable of when they are left alone. The door closed behind him with a soft click. The three alien representatives sat in silence for a moment. Well, the energy being finally said, that was easier than expected. They will be back within a month, begging for mercy. The Vrex made its glass-breaking laugh again. Humans are proud but not stupid. They will realize they have no choice but to accept our terms. The Quillen's color returned to normal purple. The hive mind calculates a 97% probability that they will surrender within 6 standard time units. None of them noticed the small device that Kim had left under the table. It was recording everything they said and sending it back to Earth through quantum transmission. Dr. Lee Anna received the transmission in her laboratory on Earth. She was humanity's top expert on alien biology and psychology. She had studied every species in the galaxy for the past 5 years. As she listened to the recording, she smiled. The aliens had revealed their true thoughts about humanity. More importantly, they had revealed their greatest weakness. They believed their own propaganda. They actually thought humans were primitive and weak. Computer, she said to her AI assistant, send a message to General Kong Minho. Tell him the aliens took the bait. They believe we are retreating in defeat. Phase 2 can begin. The computer beeped acknowledgement. Across Earth and all human colonies, military commanders received coded orders. Project Silent Thunder, humanity's greatest secret, was about to begin. The galaxy would soon learn what humans could accomplish when everyone underestimated them. 2 weeks had passed since the humans left the peace talks. The Galactic Council met again in their giant space station. The crystal walls sparkled with light from distant stars. The 3 main species sat around their table, feeling very pleased with themselves. Supreme Arbiter Valtheros led the meeting. He was the biggest and oldest of the Vrex. His crystal body was dark blue, almost black. When he spoke, his voice made the whole room shake. The human problem is solved, he announced. They ran away like scared children. Soon they will come back and beg for our mercy. The Quillen representative's purple skin grew brighter with happiness. The hive mind has calculated their surrender. Humans cannot survive alone in space. They need our protection and our trade routes. Hive-Node-Prime-7 was the Quillen's military expert. It had 6 arms, and each one held a different data device. Our spies report that human ships have returned to their home systems. They are not building new weapons. They are not calling for help from other species. They are simply hiding. The energy being that represented the Nethes Dominion pulsed with satisfaction. Perfect. Fear makes young species learn faster. When they return, they will be much more obedient. But not everyone in the room agreed. Intelligence Coordinator Zephanol sat in the corner. He belonged to the Alteron species. The Alterons were small, gray beings with large eyes. They were not as powerful as the big 3 species, but they were very good at watching and listening. Supreme Arbiter, Zephanol said quietly. My people have detected strange activities in human space. The crystal being turned toward him with a sound like grinding stone. What kind of activities? Massive construction projects. Energy readings that do not match any known human technology. Material transportation on a scale we have never seen before. The Quillen made a clicking sound that meant laughter. Humans building. Let them play with their toys. Children need games to keep them busy. Zephanol pulled out a datapad. The energy signatures suggest they are building something very large. Multiple somethings, and the materials they are moving. It would take our shipyards years to move that much metal and crystal. The Nethes representative glowed brighter. Impossible. Human technology is centuries behind ours. They cannot move materials faster than us. They cannot build bigger than us. Perhaps Zephanol said carefully, but what if they are not using the same methods we use? What if they have found new ways to build and create? Valtheros made a sound like breaking glass. This was how Vrex laughed. New ways. There are no new ways. We have perfected technology for 10,000 years. What could humans possibly discover in a few months that we have not learned in millennia? The meeting continued for several hours. The big three species divided up the trade routes that humans used to control. They made plans to take over human colonies once the humans surrendered. They talked about how to educate humans to be better galactic citizens. None of them paid attention to Zephanel's warnings. Meanwhile, on Earth, things were very different than the aliens believed. General Kong Minho stood in the biggest military command center ever built. It was underground, beneath the mountains of Korea. Screens covered every wall, showing information from across human space. Thousands of military officers worked at computer stations. Status report. The general ordered. Colonel Sim Hae-won stepped forward. All human diplomatic staff have returned safely. All our spies in alien space are now active. Project Silent Thunder is ahead of schedule. Dr. Yang Ji-woo appeared on one of the big screens. She was calling from the research station. Near Jupiter, General, we have achieved breakthrough after breakthrough. Without the aliens watching us, our scientists are free to experiment with dangerous technologies. Explain, Kong Minho said, we took apart every piece of alien technology we could find their faster-than-light drives, their energy shields, their communication systems. Then we improved them. The general raised an eyebrow. Improved them how? Their technology is very old and very conservative. They use the same methods they used thousands of years ago. But humans think differently. We found ways to make their machines work 10 times better. Another screen lit up. Admiral Cho Yun-suk appeared from the secret shipyards near Pluto. General, our first new warship is ready for testing. The indomitable will is unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Show me, the general said. The screen changed to show a view from space. A ship appeared that made everyone in the command center gasp. It was sleek and black, covered in strange patterns that seemed to move in the light. It was bigger than any human ship ever built, but somehow it looked fast and deadly. Traditional alien ships are built like flying cities, Admiral Cho explained, big, slow, and heavily armored. Our new ships are built like hunting cats, fast, agile, and perfectly designed for combat. Chief Engineer Otaman appeared on another screen. General, the new ship's weapon systems are ready. We've combined human creativity with alien technology. The results are ... impressive. Defined, impressive, Kong Minho said. Our main weapon can destroy an alien battleship with one shot. Our shields can deflect anything in their arsenal. And our speed ... we can travel across the galaxy in days instead of months. Dr. Yang Ji-woo returned to the main screen. General, that's not the best part. We've solved the problem of human-machine interface. Our pilots can connect directly with their ships through quantum neural links. What does that mean? It means our reaction time is now faster than alien computers. Our ships respond to thought instead of manual controls. One human pilot is now more effective than an entire alien bridge crew. The general walked to the center of the command room. All around him, screens showed human colonies throughout the galaxy. On every world, construction continued day and night. Humans were building ships, weapons, and technologies that would surprise everyone. How long until we're ready? He asked. 6 months, Admiral Cho replied, maybe less. The aliens think we're hiding in fear. Colonel Sim added, they have no idea what we're actually doing. General Kong Minho smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Good. Let them think we're weak. Let them think we're afraid. When we're ready, they'll learn what humans can accomplish when everyone underestimates us. 6 months had passed since humanity left the peace talks. The Galactic Council was growing impatient. They expected the humans to return by now, begging for mercy and accepting any terms offered. Instead, human space had gone completely quiet. Supreme Arbiter Valtheros called another emergency meeting. The crystal being was frustrated. His species had ruled part of the galaxy for 10,000 years. No young species had ever ignored them for this long. Status report on the human situation, he demanded. Hive-Node-Prime-7 consulted its data devices. Human colonies appear normal from long-range scans. Cities are functioning. Ships move between planets. But they have stopped all contact with other species. No trade. Asked the Nethes representative. None. They are not buying or selling anything outside their own space. No communication. Nothing. They ignore all messages from other species. Valthera made his glass-breaking sound of anger. Enough. We will force them to respond. Begin preparations to occupy their outer colonies. Intelligence Coordinator Zephanel raised a small gray hand. Supreme Arbiter, my spies report continued unusual activity. The energy readings from human space have tripled in the past month. Tripled. The crystal being turned toward the alt. What are they powering that requires so much energy? Unknown. But the energy patterns are unlike anything in our databases. They appear to be using power sources that should not exist. The Quillen's purple skin darkened with thought. Could they be building weapons? With what knowledge? The Nethes being pulsed. They have no advanced technology. They have no experienced scientists. What could they possibly create that would threaten us? Ethanol looked at his datapad nervously. There is something else. Our deep space monitors have detected gravitational anomalies near human colonies. Space itself appears to be bending. Impossible, Baltheros declared. Only the most advanced civilizations can manipulate gravity. Humans barely understand basic physics. But the Ultron was right to be worried. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Admiral Cho Yunsuke stood on the bridge of humanity's newest weapon. The indomitable will was no longer alone. Around it floated 50 more ships of the same design. Each one was a masterpiece of human engineering and alien technology combined. Fleet status report. The Admiral ordered. Captain Lim Dayung stepped forward. She was young for a ship captain, only 35 years old, but she had trained on the new human-machine interface longer than anyone else. All ships report ready for combat operations. Quantum drives are functioning perfectly. Weapons systems are charged and operational. Crews are integrated with ship systems at 98% efficiency. The Admiral nodded. The quantum neural interface was humanity's greatest breakthrough. By connecting human brains directly to ship computers, they had created something no alien species possessed. Perfect coordination between pilot and machine. Navigation report. CHO ordered. Lieutenant Commander Nam Soyoung appeared on the main screen. Admiral, our new faster-than-light system is performing beyond expectations. We can now travel instantly to any point in the galaxy. Instantly, yes. MAAM. Traditional alien ships fold space to travel quickly. Our ships step outside normal space entirely. We exist in quantum dimensions, where distance doesn't matter. Chief Engineer Otaman added, Admiral, the aliens' biggest weakness is that they think inside normal physics. Humans have learned to think outside physics entirely. On the main screen, Earth appeared, but it looked different than it had a year ago. The planet was surrounded by construction platforms and defensive stations. New cities floated in orbit. Manufacturing plants stretched from Earth to the moon. Dr. Ruhyan Wu appeared on another screen from his research station. Admiral, we've achieved the impossible. Human consciousness can now exist in both biological and quantum states simultaneously. Explain that in simple terms, Dr. Human minds can now control multiple ships at once. One person can pilot an entire squadron. Our reaction times are measured in quantum seconds rather than normal seconds. Admiral Cho walked to the main window of her ship. Outside, she could see the secret fleet that humanity had built. Each ship was unique, designed by human creativity rather than standard templates. Some looked like giant fish, others resembled metal flowers. A few appeared to be made of pure light. All ships, prepare for combat testing, she announced. The 50 ships moved into formation, but they didn't move like alien ships. Slowly and predictably, they flowed like water, like a school of fish, like a flock of birds. Each ship knew what the others were thinking through quantum links. Captain Lim Dayung connected her mind to her ship's systems. Instantly, she could feel the vessel around her like a second body. The ship's sensors became her eyes. Its weapons became her hands. Its engines became her muscles. Beginning speed test, she announced. Her ship, the Righteous Fury, simply vanished. One moment it was floating with the fleet. The next moment it was orbiting Saturn. A few seconds later, it reappeared in its original position. Time elapsed. 0.3 seconds, reported the navigation computer. The Admiral smiled. Alien ships took hours to travel that distance. Human ships did it in less than a second. Weapons test, she ordered. Captain Lim targeted a large asteroid floating nearby. The Righteous Fury fired a single beam of coherent energy. The asteroid didn't just explode, it ceased to exist. The weapon had converted all its matter directly into energy. Stealth test, Admiral Cho commanded. All 50 ships activated their concealment systems. They didn't just become invisible to normal sensors. They stepped partially outside normal space, becoming impossible to detect by any known technology. Production coordinator Nam Soyoung contacted the Admiral from the manufacturing platforms. Admiral, we've completed another 50 ships. At current production rates, we'll have 1,000 vessels within 2 months. Quality control. Each ship is better than the last. Our manufacturing AI learns from every vessel we build. The newer ships are more advanced than even our flagship. Dr. Yang Ji Wu appeared on screen from her research facility. Admiral, we've made another breakthrough. We can now create artificial gravity wells. We can make stars burn brighter or dimmer. We can even create temporary black holes. Admiral Cho looked out at her fleet. 6 months ago, humanity had walked away from peace talks with nothing but wounded pride. Now they possessed technology that made them the most advanced species in the galaxy. Begin Phase 3, she ordered. It's time to let the aliens know what humans have been doing during our retreat. Colonel Jung Wasun received the Admiral's message at his post on Kepler 438b, one of humanity's outer colonies. For months, he had been preparing for the aliens' inevitable attack. The colony looked defenseless, but appearances could be deceiving. Dr. Beek Minyong worked in her laboratory beneath the colony's main city. She had spent months preparing something the aliens had never encountered: planetary defense systems that turned entire worlds into weapons. "Colonel," she reported, "nanite deployment is complete. Every grain of soil, every drop of water, every breath of air on this planet is now under our control. Will it work against alien technology? Better than work. Their technology relies on electromagnetic fields and nuclear reactions. Our nanites disrupt both at the quantum level. Their ships will simply stop working when they enter our atmosphere." High above the planet, hidden in quantum space, Captain Park Min-jun waited with a squadron of the new human warships. His orders were simple: let the aliens land on the planet, then spring the trap. Across human space, similar preparations were complete. Every colony had been turned into a fortress. Every ship had been upgraded with new technology. Every human had been trained for the coming war. The aliens still believed humans were weak and frightened. Soon, they would learn the truth. The Galactic Council had run out of patience. Supreme Arbiter Veltheros decided that humans had been allowed to sulk long enough. It was time to force them back to the negotiating table. "Prepare the Grand Fleet," he announced to the Council. "We will occupy the outer human colonies and hold them until the humans accept our terms." Fleet Commander Velthak received his orders with satisfaction. He was Veltheros' younger brother, and he had been waiting for a chance to prove himself. In battle, the Grand Fleet, under his command, was the largest military force the galaxy had seen in centuries. 200 warships gathered at the fleet staging area. Each ship was the size of a small city. They carried thousands of troops and enough firepower to destroy entire planets. The smallest ship in the fleet was bigger than the largest human vessel anyone had ever seen. "Intelligence report," Commander Velthak ordered. His intelligence officer, Aquilin designation, Hive Node Secondary 12, consulted its data files. Human colonies show minimal defensive preparations. Long-range scans detect fewer than 5 military vessels per system. No shield generators, no orbital defense platforms. Troop strength, colonial security forces only. Perhaps 10,000 trained soldiers across all outer colonies combined. No heavy weapons detected. Commander Velthak made the Vrex sound of satisfaction. "This will be easier than conquering primitive worlds. Humans haven't even tried to defend themselves." The Nethi's military advisor pulsed with agreement. "Our psychological analysis suggests they will surrender immediately when they see our fleet. Humans appear to prefer survival over honor." What the aliens didn't know was that every scan they made of human colonies was carefully manipulated. Human technology could now make things appear or disappear to alien sensors. The colonies looked defenseless because humans wanted them to look defenseless. Colonel Jung Woo-sung stood in his command bunker on Kepler 438b. Above him, the colony city went about its normal business. Humans worked in factories, children played in parks, and farmers tended their crops. Everything looked peaceful and undefended. Status report. The colonel ordered. Major Kim Hyojin consulted her tactical display. "All defensive systems are ready but hidden. Nanite cloud is deployed and waiting. Underground facilities are fully operational. Evacuation tunnels are clear. What about our space assets?" Captain Park Min-jun reports his squadron is in position in quantum space. The aliens won't detect them until it's too late. Dr. Beek Min-young appeared on the communication screen from her underground laboratory. "Colonel, the nanite integration is complete. This entire planet is now a single defensive system. When I activate it, every alien device that touches our atmosphere will stop working, including their life support. Everything, their ships will lose power, their weapons will shut down, and their communication systems will fail. But the nanites are programmed to avoid harming biological life directly. We want prisoners, not corpses." The colonel nodded. Humanity's new approach to warfare was different from traditional galactic combat. Instead of trying to destroy enemies, humans preferred to disable them and force surrender. It was more effective and less wasteful. Tactical coordinator Sim Haewon monitored the approaching alien fleet from her hidden observation post in the outer system. "Colonel, the Grand Fleet has entered our space. 200 ships, just as intelligence predicted. Formation, standard Vrex battle formation. They're not even trying to be tactical. They expect no resistance. Perfect. Let them get comfortable." The Grand Fleet moved slowly through human space. Commander Velthak was impressed by what he saw. Human colonies were well built and obviously prosperous. The worlds would make valuable additions to the Vrex Empire. "Begin landing operations," he ordered. "Occupy the 3 largest colonies first. Once we control them, the others will surrender without fighting." Transport ships launched from the Grand Fleet. Each one carried 1,000 Vrex soldiers in crystal armor. Their weapons could melt steel, and their armor could deflect most energy weapons. They had conquered dozens of worlds using the same tactics. On Kepler 438b, Colonel Jung Woo-sung watched the alien transports approach. All units, prepare for Phase 1. Remember, we want them to land successfully. The trap doesn't work until they're committed. The alien transports landed in the colony's main spaceport. Crystal soldiers marched out in perfect formation. Their commander, a Vrex officer named Calvaros, expected immediate surrender. Instead, he found empty landing pads. "Where are the humans?" he demanded. His sensors detected life signs throughout the colony, but no humans appeared to meet them. The city continued operating normally. Traffic moved through the streets. Lights shone in windows. But no one came to surrender. "Search the buildings," Calvaros ordered. "Find their leaders and bring them to me." The crystal soldiers spread through the city. But something strange happened. Their equipment began malfunctioning. Communication devices stopped working. Weapon targeting systems failed. Even their armors. Environmental controls started shutting down. "What's happening?" Calvaros tried to contact his ship, but his radio was dead. In her underground laboratory, Dr. Baek Minyoung smiled as she watched her nanites go to work. The microscopic machines spread through the air, the water, and the soil. They found every piece of alien technology and quietly shut it down at the quantum level. "Nanite deployment successful," she reported to Colonel Jung. "All alien equipment in the city is now offline." Phase 2, the colonel ordered. Above the planet, Captain Park Min-jun received the signal. His squadron of 12 human warships stepped out of quantum space and into normal reality. They appeared directly above the Grand Fleet in perfect attack formation. Commander Velthak stared at his sensors in shock. 12 ships had just appeared from nowhere. But these weren't the primitive human vessels he expected. These ships were sleek, advanced, and obviously dangerous. "Where did they come from?" he demanded. His sensor officer, Aquilin, checked its equipment frantically. "Unknown, Commander. They weren't there, and then they were. Our long-range scanners show no approach vector." "What class of ships are they?" "Unknown design. Energy readings are ... impossible." Captain Park Min-jun opened a communication channel to the Grand Fleet. "Attention Galactic Council forces. You are trespassing in human space without permission. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Commander Velthak made the Vrex laughing sound. 12 ships against 200 humans truly are as foolish as we believed. "I'm giving you one chance to leave peacefully," Captain Park replied. "Your ground forces have already discovered that their equipment doesn't work in our atmosphere. Your choice is simple. Retreat now or join them. Attack," Velthak ordered. The Grand Fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and missile salvos filled space. It was enough firepower to destroy a moon, but the human ships simply weren't there anymore. They had stepped back into quantum space, avoided all the weapons, then reappeared in new positions. Before the aliens could react, the human ships fired back. 12 beams of coherent energy struck 12 alien warships. The vessels didn't explode, they simply stopped working. Their engines shut down, their weapons went offline, and their shields collapsed. The ships began drifting helplessly in space. "Impossible." Commander Velthak stared at his tactical display. "How did 12 primitive ships disable 12 of our best warships?" Captain Park's voice came over the communication channel again. "Would you like to surrender now, or shall we continue this demonstration?" The alien commander looked at his fleet. In less than 1 minute, he had lost 12 ships without the humans taking any damage at all. His ground forces were trapped on the planet with non-functional equipment, and he still had no idea how the human ships could appear and disappear at will. For the first time in his long military career, Fleet Commander Velthak began to suspect that the Galactic Council had made a serious mistake. The trap had been sprung perfectly. Commander Velthak's Grand Fleet was now scattered throughout the Kepler 438 system, with dozens of ships disabled and thousands of troops stranded on the planet below. But the real surprise was just beginning. Admiral Cho Yun-suk received Captain Park's status report from her command ship in Earth orbit. "Phase 4 is complete. The alien fleet is neutralized and ready for the demonstration." "Excellent. Begin the revelation." Across human space, similar scenes were playing out in 17 different star systems. Alien forces had moved to occupy what they thought were defenseless human colonies, only to find themselves trapped and helpless. But Admiral Cho had a bigger surprise planned. "Communications, open a channel to the Galactic Council station." In the council chambers where this whole conflict had started, Supreme Arbiter Vale Theros was receiving very confusing reports. His Grand Fleet had mysteriously stopped sending updates. The last message from Commander Velthak had mentioned equipment, malfunctions, and impossible human technology. "Supreme Arbiter," his communication officer announced, "incoming transmission from human space." "From our fleet?" "No, sir, from the humans themselves." Vale Theros made a sound like grinding. "Crystal, put it on the main display. Let's hear them beg for mercy." The screen activated, and Commander Park Soo-jin appeared. But she wasn't in a prison cell or speaking from a refugee ship. She stood on the bridge of a vessel that looked like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Behind her, displays showed star charts, technical readouts, and tactical information that shouldn't exist. "Greetings, Supreme Arbiter," Commander Park said calmly. "I believe we need to discuss the current situation." "Where is my fleet?" Valtheros demanded. "Your fleet is safe, but disabled. Your troops are unharmed, but disarmed. Your commanders are discovering that their technology doesn't work very well in human space." The crystal being's voice rose to a roar. "What have you done?" "We've demonstrated something very important," Park replied. "You made a critical error in judgment 6 months ago. You assumed that humanity's desire for peace meant we were weak. You assumed that our technological youth meant we were inferior. You assumed that because we walked away from your negotiations, we were afraid." Dr. Lee Hanna appeared beside Commander Park on the screen. "Supreme Arbiter, we've spent 6 months studying your species and your technology. We've learned some very interesting things, such as your weapons are based on nuclear fusion reactions. Your shields use electromagnetic field manipulation. Your faster-than-light drives fold space using gravitational controls. All very impressive, and all very predictable." Valtheros' crystalline form began to glow with anger. "Our technology has conquered the galaxy for 10,000 years. Yes, Dr. Lee agreed. And that's exactly the problem. Your success made you conservative. You stopped innovating. You stopped exploring new possibilities. You assumed that because your methods worked, they were the only methods that could work." Commander Park gestured to something off-screen. "Show them what human innovation accomplished in 6 months." The display changed to show space around Earth. But instead of the single planet, the aliens remembered. They now saw something impossible. Earth was surrounded by dozens of artificial worlds, massive space stations, and industrial platforms that stretched to the moon and beyond. "This is impossible," whispered the Quillan representative. "No species can build this much in 6 months. No species has ever tried." Park replied, "You all got comfortable with your existing technology. Humans had no choice but to innovate or be dominated." Admiral Cho Yunsuke appeared on another part of the transmission. She stood in what was obviously a military command center, surrounded by displays showing ships and fleets across the galaxy. "Supreme Arbiter, while your Grand Fleet was moving to attack our colonies, we've been busy demonstrating new capabilities." The screen split to show multiple views. In system after system, human fleets were appearing from nowhere. Not small groups of ships like the 12 that had disabled the Grand Fleet, but hundreds of vessels. Each fleet was positioned perfectly to defend human colonies or threaten alien supply lines. "How many ships do you have?" Valtheros asked, his voice smaller than before. "Enough," Admiral Cho replied. "But numbers aren't the important part. Watch this." One of the human ships on the display simply vanished. Then it reappeared on the other side of the galaxy, near the Council's own space station. Then it vanished again and reappeared in its original position. "Instant travel across any distance," Admiral Cho explained. "Your ships take weeks to cross the galaxy. Ours can do it in seconds." Dr. Yang Jiwoo appeared on the screen from her research station. "Supreme Arbiter, we've revolutionized faster-than-light travel, energy production, materials, science, and quantum mechanics. In 6 months, we've advanced human technology by centuries." "How?" The question came from Intelligence Coordinator Zephanel, the small gray Alteron who had tried to warn the Council months ago. "By thinking outside the limitations you've accepted," Dr. Yang replied. "You fold space to travel quickly. We step outside space entirely. You use fusion reactors for power. We tap directly into stellar cores. You build with metal and crystal. We build with programmable matter that can change its properties at will." Commander Park took control of the transmission again. "But the most important innovation was philosophical, not technological." "Explain," Valtheros demanded. "You see diversity as chaos that needs to be controlled. We see diversity as strength that needs to be cultivated. Your council works by having the strongest species dominate the weaker ones. That approach discourages innovation and creativity." Dr. Lee Hanna nodded agreement. "Supreme Arbiter, in 6 months of unrestricted research, human scientists accomplished more than your entire civilization has in the past 1,000 years. Not because we're smarter than you, but because we were motivated to find new solutions. Instead of relying on old ones, the transmission showed images of human colonies throughout the galaxy. But instead of the primitive settlements the aliens expected, they saw advanced cities with technology that seemed almost magical. Buildings that grew like plants. Vehicles that moved through solid matter. Energy systems that had no visible source. "This is what humans built when you left us alone," Commander Park said. "This is what we accomplished when we stopped trying to fit into your existing galactic civilization and started building our own." Supreme Arbiter Valtheros stared at the displays in silence. Around him, the other council members were equally shocked. The small primitive species they had dismissed 6 months ago was demonstrating technological capabilities that made the council's most advanced worlds look backward. "What do you want?" he finally asked. "We want to talk, Commander." Park replied, but this time, as equals. The screen showed Admiral Cho's command center again. Your Grand Fleet is disabled but unharmed. Your troops are captured but uninjured. We could have destroyed everything, but we chose not to. That should tell you something about human intentions. We're not interested in conquest or domination, Park continued. We never were. We wanted to join galactic civilization as partners, not subjects. When you made that impossible, we built our own civilization instead. Dr. Ru Hyanwu appeared. On screen, from his quantum research facility. Supreme Arbiter, we've solved problems that your species considered impossible. We can share these advances with the galaxy, but only if the galaxy is willing to treat us as equals. And if we refuse, Valtheros asked. Commander Park's expression didn't change. Then you'll discover that humans are very good at being left alone. Your Grand Fleet learned that lesson today. The question is whether the rest of the galaxy needs to learn it the hard way. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Intelligence Coordinator Zephanel was the first to speak. Supreme Arbiter, I tried to warn you months ago. The energy readings, the construction projects, the gravitational anomalies. Humans weren't retreating, they were preparing. Preparing for what? The Quillan representative asked. To make the rest of us irrelevant, Zephanel replied quietly. If they can travel instantly anywhere in the galaxy, if they can disable our fleets without firing a shot, if they can build in months what takes us decades, what do they need us for? Supreme Arbiter Valtheros stared at the empty transmission screen. For 10,000 years, his species had ruled through superior technology and military might. Now, in 6 months, a primitive species had made both advantages obsolete. Get me a direct communication link to the human commander, he ordered. It appears we need to discuss new terms.